Many families have trouble keeping up with payments for utility services. They find themselves without heat or electricity, in the cold or in the dark. Their children can't see to complete their homework. They heat water on the stovetop to add to the bath, a terribly dangerous practice. To help families avoid utility termination and help them enter affordable payment arrangements with the state's gas and electric companies, the Center for Children's Advocacy hosts the Keep the Power On utility clinics several times each year. Clinics take place in a large space, such as an auditorium or cafeteria, affiliated with one of the area hospitals. Medical providers and social services agencies help us advertise the clinic. Participants are urged to pre-register, but often attend on a walk-in basis. Clinic volunteers help low-income families evaluate their household budgets and provide them with strategies to ensure payment of essential household bills. This video is a guide to help you work with our clients. It includes step-by-step information and examples of client interaction. Your role as a volunteer is to discuss the participants' utility bills, get information about their household budgets, provide strategies for cutting back on expenses, and assist with their meeting with utility company representatives. Our goal is to enter the participant into an affordable payment arrangement.
And if you don't have heat and you don't have lights, you may lose your children. We don't want that to happen.
And sometimes, you need a little bit of help.
I felt as if I didn't have a choice because either you pay that amount or you get shut off.
I didn't realize that we had lawyers.
I left here very relieved. I'm happy I came.
There's 2 thumbs up.
The only legal issues addressed are those related to utility service. If a client would like to discuss other legal issues, ask her to contact the Center for Children's Advocacy. Our contact information will be available. Staff from the Center for Children's Advocacy will be on site to answer any questions you may have. Connecticut has several laws that are relevant to utility protection. Winter, or hardship protection, helps individuals with limited income avoid utility termination between November 1st and May 1st. During this period, the utility bill continues to accrue, but service cannot be terminated. After May 1st, utility companies can terminate service for accounts that are in arrears. Some of our clinic attendees may have had service terminated, or may have significant debt owed to the utility companies. Under winter protection law, the statute governing reinstatement of services differs depending on the utility. For electric service, if a client's service is still on, the service must continue even if the client has an arrearage. If the client's service was terminated, it must be reinstated as of November 1st. For gas service, if a client's service is still on, the service must continue even if the client has a large arrearage. If the service has been terminated, the client must pay either $100 or 20% of the arrearage to have service reinstated.
In this client demographics lives, who are the lawyers? The lawyers are the attorney for the landlord trying to evict them, the lawyer for the school board who doesn't want to give their child the services they need, the prosecutor who wants to put their son in prison. You are the other side of that equation.
Volunteers will work in pairs, and your clients will be escorted one at a time to your workstation.
And I have to tell you that the clients are thrilled.
I felt better because it was face-to-face.
They were very helpful. They walked me through it.
They were spot on, had all the right answers, and when they didn't know, they pointed to someone who did know. It was like hands-on, so you were never by yourself. Everybody was together.
Introduce yourself and ask your client to tell you about her utility bill problems. Do not be surprised if the client has some apprehension about the process. Outline the goals of the day's clinic.
First, we're going to talk about what's going on with your financial challenges in your household. The next thing we're going to do is I need to get some basic information from you, just name and address and all those things. And I need it for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
I need it so that the utility companies can have that information. And then the other thing is I want to look to see whether there are any other programs that you might be eligible for. Those are sometimes based on, any number of things, number of people in the household, whether anyone has a disability and all of that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at your household budget. I'm going to ask you about the money that's coming in every month, and I'm going to talk to you about your expenses every month. And then finally, we're going to go talk to the utility company. Don't worry, we are going to talk to them. I'm going to be there with you, and we're going to try and enter you into a payment arrangement that works for you. Okay?
You will have a folder for each client you meet. The folder contains documents that relate to the steps of your client interview and counseling session. Please complete every document in the folder. First, complete the form that requests demographic information about the client's household. If a question has an obvious answer, such as language spoken, you can fill in the information yourself. If a client is uncomfortable answering a question, it is appropriate to skip that question. One of the questions asked is whether a family member has a disability. There are several reasons to ask this. First, there are state and federal benefits programs for persons with disabilities. If the client would like to discuss eligibility for these programs, please ask her to contact the Center for Children's Advocacy after her clinic appointment. Second, an issue that arises in utility cases is eligibility for medical protection from termination of electric and gas services. State law provides that if an individual in a household has a life-threatening condition, such that the absence of heat or light will put that person's life at risk, the utility company cannot terminate that individual's service. There is also limited protection from utility termination for medical reasons or for a child under the age of 24 months who is about to be discharged from hospital care. The doctor must certify that a lack of electricity or gas will negatively impact this child's health and well-being. Determination of eligibility for medical protection or infant protection is made by a medical provider, and the provider must submit a form to the utility company. This program can be confusing to our clients. If the client needs more information about this, please ask her to contact the Center for Children's Advocacy. After obtaining demographic information, you will begin the budget counseling component of the interview. Ask the client to list all household income. This information should include only those sources of income that are guaranteed to be available on an ongoing basis. For example, if a client has a child support order, but the payments are not reliable, do not list that as a source of income. Only include income that can be used to pay a utility bill. Many clients receive food stamps, and the money for this is loaded monthly on a debit card. Do not use this as a source of income, since that money can only be used for food. The budget sheet includes a list of possible sources of income. The choices listed are common income sources for clients who participate in the clinic. The income and expense sheet contemplates income on a monthly basis. Some forms of income, like wages, are weekly. To calculate a monthly equivalent, multiply the weekly wage by 4.3. The expense sheet includes common monthly expenses such as rent, food, and clothing. If the client does not know the exact amount of money spent monthly on a category, such as clothing, ask her to give her best estimate. Once you complete the income and expense sheet, subtract expenses from income. You may find that monthly expenses exceed income. Note that there is a second income and expense sheet in the folder for each client. To complete the second sheet with your client, income will remain the same, but your role is to provide ideas and strategies for limiting expenses. There are several areas where you can provide important information about expenses. For example, you can suggest that clients examine cell phone service to see if they can eliminate unnecessary features. For some clients, call waiting or call forwarding is an unnecessary and costly addition. Explain that your client can contact the cell phone provider and ask about a less expensive plan. Tell your client about free cell phone service for people who receive public benefits. Suggest that your client call 211 info line to get more information about this program. You can also suggest that your client call 211 for help with food or clothing. 211 is a United Way agency that connects callers with services. They can connect your client with food pantries and other services. Some clients are uncomfortable asking agencies for assistance. You can suggest that assistance from a community agency results in keeping a family stable. For example, if money is limited, getting help with food may mean being able to pay a light bill.
There's another way to look at it, right? And that is that you are doing what you need to do to take care of your children. It is the responsible thing to do, and it's not about being embarrassed. Lots of people do it because you're making a decision. You're saying, okay, look, I have to make sure that my apartment is secure. I have to make sure that my household has lights on and heat. And if I get a little extra food from the food pantry, it's not that there's anything wrong with me, but it's about being a good mother and making sure that my children have what they need.
Okay.
Okay?
After providing cost-saving tips, Recalculate the income and expenses. Hopefully, you will have created an aspirational budget that gives your client the economic flexibility to include monthly utility payments in ongoing expenses. The next document in the file folder is the retainer agreement. Your client is represented by the Center for Children's Advocacy for the limited purpose of the utility clinic. Please complete the 2 retainers in the folder and have the client sign both copies. The attorney signature line on the retainer is for an attorney from the Center for Children's Advocacy. The CCA attorney overseeing the clinic will review the information you completed and will sign the retainer copies. Please give the client 1 copy of the signed retainer and keep one in the file. The utility companies are on site at the clinic. You will accompany your client to speak with utility companies.
They went all the way, they went over to Eversource with me, they represented me there.
Hold on, let me walk you to someone who does know. Let's walk here together.
The utility company will electronically review the client's payment record. Ask if your client is eligible for special programs for low-income customers. Clients may be eligible for a program that allows them to pay only their ongoing monthly bill. Many clients have an arrearage. Under special programs, a client who consistently pays her monthly bill will not have to pay the arrearage. However, if the client defaults on the payment arrangement, she may no longer be eligible for the special program. Some of the clients you see at the clinic may have a large arrearage with the utility company. The utility companies have a number of programs that can possibly reduce or eliminate the arrearage. Not every client is eligible, but you can certainly ask the utility company about this. These programs are usually called matching payment programs or arrearage forgiveness programs. Each program is slightly different, but in general, here is how they can work. Let's say your client has utility arrearage of $1,000, and every month, your client's new bill is $100. We will use the month of May as an example. Your client will pay $100 to the utility company to take care of the bill for May. But, in addition, the utility company will match that amount, meaning they will deduct $100 from the client's arrearage. In June, your client will pay the monthly bill of $100 again. And the utility company will again match that payment by deducting another $100 from her arrearage. They will continue to do this as long as your client keeps up with her monthly payments. There are other programs that can help as well. Programs like Energy Assistance and Operation Fuel can provide assistance to low-income people. Ask your client to call 211 to get an appointment to see if she is eligible for these programs. If a family gets a grant from one of these programs, the utility company can match that amount as well as subtract it from the arrearage. For example, if your client gets $300 from Energy Assistance, that amount will be subtracted from the arrearage. In addition, the utility company will match that amount and subtract an additional $300 from the arrearage. So now, we have gone from an arrearage of $1,000 to an arrearage of $200, and we will be at a zero balance very soon. The final step is to review the utility company payment arrangement with your client.
Thank you so much for everything that you did. I'm so relieved.
You're-
I didn't think it would be that easy.
And it turned out a lot better than I expected, a lot easier.
You're very welcome, and you did a great job. And again, the most important part is that you came today, right? And dealing with it, you have a problem and working to solve the problem. So let's just go over it one more time, because it is so important for you to understand it, and it's so important for you to pay every single month.
Okay.
Right? All right. So
Emphasize the importance of consistently making the monthly payments. In your client's folder, there are 2 copies of a form that memorializes the payment agreement. Please complete both copies. Give one to the client and leave one in the file folder. There may be other community agencies at the clinic. If your client has other social services needs, suggest that she seek assistance from one of the participating agencies.
I came in today because I needed help with my light bill.
For me and my family, we was having a little bit of hardship.
I wanted some information on the Eversource New Start program.
Trying to juggle a large family, having a hard time finding jobs.
When you work with a budgeted amount of money that you have every month, every dollar counts.
Did you say you got some of those answers?
I surely did. I got a lot of help.
Yes, and more than enough. I think your program is excellent. I think it's wonderful.
One of the most rewarding things is knowing that now an individual is on a plan that she can actually afford.
Now my budget payment is cut in half.
And would you do this again?
Yes, I would absolutely do it again.
I'm excited.
Thank you for volunteering for the utility clinic. Not only are you providing essential assistance so your client can continue to have light and heat in her household, but you are communicating to the client that the legal community cares about her needs.
And if you don't have heat and you don't have lights, you may lose your children. We don't want that to happen.
And sometimes, you need a little bit of help.
I felt as if I didn't have a choice because either you pay that amount or you get shut off.
I didn't realize that we had lawyers.
I left here very relieved. I'm happy I came.
It's 2 thumbs up.
And if you don't have heat and you don't have lights, you may lose your children. We don't want that to happen.
And sometimes, you need a little bit of help.
I felt as if I didn't have a choice because either you pay that amount or you get shut off.
I didn't realize that we had lawyers.
I left here very relieved. I'm happy I came.
It's 2 thumbs up.